Now I think we're ready to snap this guy up. So let's go ahead and choose one and we'll put it together. So there you have it. Heavyarms is all snapped up. I'm really happy that this project is completed. I'm going to go ahead and snap up the other one, and then we're going to do a showcase on this, kind of a reveal video. And then also we're going to do a talk story and another video after the reveal video. So stay tuned for those two. And if you like this content, please like it, subscribe to it, and comment about it. And until next time, I hope you don't feel that neglected now.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with...
So today we're going to be working on Troa and Wufei. They are both in the Madimea uniforms. So what I did was a base coat of white. For the Troa I did his hair and also his skin. But then I also went ahead and did something a little bit different today, and I panel lined their uniforms before I even start. So we're going to see how that comes out, and we'll be doing Wufei and Troa today in the Madimea uniform, and then also I have other Wufei Changs that are just in his karate taekwondo getup. So for the base paint we're going to be using Flat Flesh. And then to recreate the different skin tones, we're going to be using Desert Yellow and Buff. That was about 3 scoops of Flat Flesh, 2 drops of acrylic thinner. And we're going to add a little bit of Desert Yellow, but first I'm going to mix up this Flat Flesh and thinner. It's looking like it's going to be a nice color for Wufei. I'm going to add a little bit of white to the mix. So let's start applying this to Wufei, and we'll get this project underway. Okay, so I have the first Wufei painted. He's a little bit darker in complexion than Troa. And hand brushing is all about moving liquid. You can think of it as paint, but I think of it more as liquid. If you apply the paint that is too thick, then when you apply another thick coat or brush stroke on there, it will actually take that paint off because there's not enough thinner, and it's just that friction of all the paint is just rubbing on one another, but it's not lubricated enough with the thinner. But you also don't want your paint too thin because it'll run everywhere, but I don't want it to be too thick because it won't actually do much good. But painting is all about an equal distribution of liquid. I remember when I first started painting, no one had ever told me that, and I had no experience besides just what I had been teaching myself. And it was very frustrating to put down a stroke and then to see in the next stroke that progress got wiped away because my paint was too thick. And it's either you hear about it and learn about it that way, or you just experience it. And when you experience it in that way, it can be frustrating. But it is a language that you eventually learn. What I do is I connect my hands together in a way to where they're both steady and I'm not just floating around. They're steady, they're together, and it makes everything actually very stable, for me at least. And don't have a death grip on your pieces either, because then that creates unnecessary tension. And that unnecessary tension creates wobbles. Okay, so when you buy the Ultron, it comes with the original EW figurines. And so that's what these guys are. I'm going to go ahead and paint these up. But right now, I'm just going to look over all of my previous flesh color for Wu-Fei Chang. And I'm just going to do a quality control to see if I missed any spots or if I need to do any more painting on him. And then I'll move on to the uniform. Alright, as I was doing my quality control for Wu-Fei, I noticed that Troa actually has some spots that are see-through on his skin, so you can see down to the white base coat, and I am going to make that color again. I might make him a little bit darker, not as dark as Wu-Fei, but a little bit darker than what he is, and then we'll go ahead and get his skin toned right, and then I can continue on to the uniforms. Let me see if I can show you this color just a little bit. It's just a little bit brighter, a little bit whiter than Wu-Fei's color. Alright, and this gives him more of a little bit of a pinkish color, so he's not as white, because Troa wasn't that white. He wasn't step in the sun and completely dye white, so I think that's the original color that I had him as. Now both Troa and Wu-Fei have their skin toned colored and painted, so I think the contrast between these two characters work quite well. Wu-Fei, I believe, is Chinese and is a little bit more darker, and I think Troa is from Europe. He's a little more fair-skinned. So I think I got their colors down to the way that I want it, and now I'm going to continue on to the uniform. One smart thing to do is to have a reference picture. So I'm going to go ahead and look and see what I should do first, and right off the bat I can tell that I should do the belt. So the belt would be the hardest to get my brush in there, and it's easier to get my brush on his shirt and his pants around the belt, but the belt itself is going to be pretty hard, and that's why I kept the flat flesh color for these two, because I imagine that brush could hit his arm on the way in, or just when I do the pants and the shirt I could do that as well. Okay, and since it's a little bit dark for most of the movie, I'm just going to do a red-brown color for the belt and also that strap, and that should be a nice color for that. I'm not actually going to mix any other color into that. And then there's also NATO brown, which I like NATO brown as well. That's a little bit lighter of a brown. If I ever have any problems with the belt color, I know that it's red-brown, so I didn't mix anything into it. It's just pick it off the shelf, put it on. Easy. Easy stuff. And I'm going to leave the middle of the belt unpainted because there is a silver piece that needs to be painted in that spot. And this is really where you don't want it to be too thin. With such a small detail, if it's too thin, it'll run right out of the grooves that you're working in. I'm going to check to see that I can't actually see that strap on the seated pilot figure. However, he is strapped in by a seatbelt, but I'm going to do that lighter NATO brown for that. Okay. So in my reference picture, I see that his shorts are a little bit blue-green, blue and green, lime green, and sky blue. Okay, it looks like I need a little more blue. So again, I'm going to do that light blue. I'm even going to put 2 drops in there. I'm going to go crazy today. But since it is more blue than green, it is what it is. It is what it is. Okay, so the first thing that I noticed is that it is too green, and I need to go a little bit more blue. Okay, and the 2 different colors of shorts that I have here, I think Troa is wearing the right color. It's more blue, whereas Wu-Fei is wearing a little more green. So I'm going to go over Wu-Fei's color, and I'm glad that I changed the color. Alright, now that I have their shorts painted, I'm going to go ahead and paint their shirts. So I decided I'm not going to do anything to this color, it's just called Buff, and I will use this. Alright, so I just painted the buff color on their shirts, so that's now done. I'm going to use that same color and add a little bit of light gray to make the color of the socks. Then I'll move on to the shoes, and then Wu Fei's hair. And then I'm going to check to see if any colors overlap, and then I'm just going to fix them. Alright, it's been a little while since you've seen me. My camera and my batteries kept dying. I have two different batteries for my camera and then my laptop battery, and all three of those died at different times. And eventually it became such a nuisance, I said, you know what, I am just going to paint these guys and finish them up. So I did. Let's see if it'll stay in focus. I have the long zoom lens on my camera now so I can get fine details for you. But there, I did all the details on them. Even the little armbands with the Marimea symbol. These are all the colors that I used. Now even when they're dry like this, you can bring colors back to life. If it's a little bit of color, like this one was a little bit hard, so I had to just put a whole new buff on the side there. But yeah, I think you guys saw the skin colors and then the socks. For the shoes, I just went with a NATO brown. For Wu Fei's hair, I just used black. And then for the red, that was for Marimea's symbol on the arm. For the armband, I just used dark gray for his armband. Okay, so for the purple color that I did on his armbands and also the shirt on the other figures, I used 2 drops of purple versus 1 blue. So I have these two colors, purple and blue. I mixed them up, 2 drops purple, 1 drop blue, and that gave me the really nice purple blue color for Wu Fei. See if I can get that color. Give me a really nice dark blue, little bit of purple. So one thing I'm gonna do before I'm completely done is I'm gonna top coat these guys, and then what I'm gonna do is paint the base in an enamel, and it'll be gray enamel. I use the same paint color for the bases, and I like to keep that the same. So these guys are now fully painted. It took a long time. It took like 3 days to do this, and I was not expecting it to take that long. I'm going to be working on these tonight. These guys are not finished. I still have some paint to do. I know that I primed it in white, but I'm going to paint white on the shorts, and then also he has yellow socks, so I'm going to do that. So as you can see, some of his shirt is coming up into a skin color, so I'm going to have to fix that, and then I will be adding this to the things I need to top coat. So now I'm going to go ahead and mix up the yellow for Wu Fei's socks, and I'll be using the lemon yellow and white. The only reason I'm not using yellow is because I don't have yellow. I have lemon yellow. It's a little brighter, but I'm going to be using white anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I'll be using those two colors. Alright, now I'm done with Wu Fei as well. I have his yellow socks, his white pants, black shoes, purple blue shirt with the bangles around his wrists, and his black hair. So now he's done. Okay, for the socks, for that color, I just used white, and then I used the lemon yellow, and what I did was I dipped this in lemon yellow, and instead of scooping out flat paint there, I dipped it just the side of the metal here. It was literally just like I just did this with the paint, and then I started stirring that around in the white, and that lemon yellow really brought out that color in the white. But if I would have started with lemon yellow and tried to go white, it just wouldn't have come out with the right color. White is just pure white, and black is pure black. And for a comparison shot, but his socks are that yellow. That little bit of yellow right there. That was a fun color to reproduce. I liked it. And also his shirt too, his tank top. That was a really fun color to reproduce. I liked that. So now I'm just going to top coat these figures, and then once I do that, I'll be able to paint the base in that enamel gray. And then I'll be done with these figures, and I will be 100% done with all my heavy arm projects. And I'll be extremely happy about that. Okay, so now I'm done painting all of the Wu Fei and Troa figures. So now all I have to do is top coat. I hope that you enjoyed watching what colors I use. I know you didn't get to see how I actually painted it stroke by stroke, but it's a little hard. These figures are pretty small. But I was able to accomplish it, and I'm pretty happy with the way they came out. All in all, I'd say it took about 3 days for me to paint all the figures. There was 11 figures altogether, so it took quite a while. I had to do 2 top coats for each color, and then after that I came back, and since some of the colors had bled into one another, I had to do 1 more coat of each color just to make sure they stay in their lanes. And then after that we were all good. Once I got the main colors done, then I went ahead and did an enamel base, and I did 3 coats of the enamel base. And then I had to hit some of the shoes because some of the gray went on the shoes, so I had to hit the shoes up, and then I took all that off. So thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I know it wasn't too informative. It was kind of just like watching me pick the colors. But in the next video we will have the showcase and reveal of the Heavyarms, and then we'll have the talk story as well. So I know that the reveal is kind of, you can see them here and now, but we're going to have more of a reveal video. So again, thank you for watching this channel, and let's go on a journey together. And until next time, I hope you don't feel that neglected now. It's really like leathery belt feel. Don't throw your pants across the room, kids. Alrighty. Dude, if that focuses in on that, that's insane. If I can actually read red-brown on this thing while I'm shaking it like that. Oh, that was close. It was close. Ooh. Oh boy, it was close. That's a close one. Alright, let's do this. Nonsense. Alright.